In December and January, I made 2 videos taking a look at national teams who were overloaded in specific positions, such as England at right back and France at centre back. Both of those videos, and particularly the first one, knocked it out of the park in terms of views, and since my most recent upload was a look at why Shakhtar Donetsk have such close ties to Brazil and have signed so many excellent Brazilian players, I thought I'd best try to do a video that people would actually watch this month. In theory, it ought to be rarer for a club side to become very heavily weighted in a specific position, since twice a year, teams have the ability to buy and sell players to give them a squad with equal strength across the park. You would have to be clinically insane as a manager, for example, to sign Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kieran Trippier, Reece James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and 5 or 6 more right-backs without realising you can't fit them all into your starting 11. That doesn't mean there aren't still some fine examples though, and I set myself the task of identifying some. So here are 7 clubs who are overloaded in one position. Real Madrid, centre forward. You could make a case for Barcelona having the most quality of any team on earth at centre forward should you call Lionel Messi a striker, as you would then have Messi, Suarez and Griezmann all competing through the middle. Given that Messi so often plays in a withdrawn role or out wide on the right though, I thought that would be a weaker inclusion. It is Barcelona's great rivals Real Madrid who kickstart this 7 with their third choice striker fresh in everyone's minds, having recently scored the second of Los Blancos' 2 goals in the Clásico. Karim Benzema is undoubtedly Real's main man up top, and he fittingly wears the number 9 shirt. Benzema has scored 240 goals in 500 games for Real, putting him 6th in their all-time scoring charts, and he has become even more prolific since Ronaldo's departure. Luka Jovic joined Real in the summer following an excellent season at Eintracht Frankfurt, signing a 6-year deal in Madrid and setting the club back €60 million. Jovic is an old-school poacher who netted 27 times last season, but has struggled to get going, having only really been handed a few minutes here and there this season. Lastly, Mariano proved his quality during his season with Lyon and has become a bit of a forgotten man at the Bernabeu prior to his goal against Barca. Between all 3, Real arguably have more depth up top than any other team. Liverpool, central midfield. 2 European giants open up this 7, and in 6th place, we have Liverpool's plethora of options in central midfield. The Liverpool midfield is rather interesting since it doesn't boast a real magician who can open a team up like Thiago or Toni Kroos, but it is incredibly functional. The vast majority of Jurgen Klopp's creativity comes from his fullbacks, and somewhat unusually his centre forward. The Liverpool midfield is packed full of energy and intensity, and that has served them very well over the last couple of seasons. Jordan Henderson is perhaps the most important player in the Liverpool midfield, and he has bounced back from a fair amount of criticism in recent years to become a real leader at Anfield. Fabinho is excellent at breaking up play and speeding things up in transition. Liverpool often look a better side with Jorginho Wijnaldum on the pitch, and James Milner is a very good utility player who has proved a fantastic signing by the Reds on a free transfer. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita are probably the 2 Liverpool midfielders who have a bit more craft and guile about them, capable of beating players and making things happen, and teenager Curtis Jones is among the best prospects in English football right now. I make that 6 very good senior central midfielders at Liverpool, and 7 if one is to throw Jones into the mix, so great value for 6th place. Napoli, right back. Napoli are having a rotten season by their own recent standards, but a recent purple patch of form has seen the team climb from the bottom half of the table into 6th place. They take 5th place in this 7 for their wealth of talent at right back, where the Italians can boast Albania star Alcide Hysaj, Frenchman Kevin Malcuit, and Italian international Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Hysaj is a quick and tireless fullback who has been the first choice right back at the Stadio San Paolo since 2015. Malcuit is an attack-minded fullback with quick feet and an excellent delivery, and Di Lorenzo is a powerful and intelligent fullback who has made a bright impression since arriving in Naples, particularly when man-marking Cristiano Ronaldo against Juventus. Thankfully for Napoli, Hysaj is also capable of playing as a left back, whilst both Malcuit and Di Lorenzo can play further forward down the right flank, giving them a little bit of flexibility. There's no doubt that right back is the favoured position of all 3 though, and as such, I think they're a good bet for a spot in 5th. Juventus, central midfield. Juventus have central midfielders coming out of their ears right now, and they might be even higher up in this 7 were it not for the fact they sent Emre Can out on loan to Borussia Dortmund at the start of the year. From Michel Platini to Zinedine Zidane, Juventus have a history of excellent midfielders, and there are some gems among their current crop as well. Miralem Pjanic is arguably the old lady's most gifted midfielder, with his vision and weight of pass putting him among the finest playmakers in the world game. Blaise Matuidi is a totally different type of footballer, more in the box-to-box mould, and he can be equally important to Maurizio Sarri, in addition to the varied talents of Adrien Rabiot, Sami Khedira, Aaron Ramsey, and Rodrigo Bentancur. All told, Juve have 6 midfielders of the highest calibre, all 6 of whom would walk straight into 99% of teams. Bentancur has the potential to be the pick of the bunch, combining athleticism and excellent technique. He has all the tools to become a world-class midfielder. Maurizio Sarri has tended to rotate the sextet this season, meanwhile Emre Can made 8 appearances prior to his loan move, and Juve's midfielders simply had to feature. Atletico Madrid. Right back. If there's one thing I learned making this 7, it is that teams who are overweight in a specific position, it tends to be at right back or in central midfield. Now, obviously most teams tend to play with at least 2 and typically 3 central midfields at the time of recording, so they're likely to have more depth there. But that's why there was a higher threshold for that position than others, just in case anyone was worrying that I hadn't factored that in. You weren't, were you? Anyhow, my choice in 3rd place is Atletico Madrid, who have 3 right backs who would start for the vast majority of clubs. Those 3 right backs are England's 2018 World Cup star Kieran Trippier, Colombia's Santiago Arias, who lost to Trippier at the 2018 World Cup, and Šime Vrsaljko, whose Croatia side beat England in the World Cup semi-final. All 3 are a little different. Trippier is an excellent crosser of the ball from deep and a set-piece specialist. Arias is quick and likes to make overlapping runs, and Vrsaljko is more of a traditional fullback who looks a bit like an extra on Peaky Blinders. Trippier has played most frequently for Atletico this season with 22 appearances to his name, impressing off the back of a tricky season at Spurs, and retaining his spot in Gareth Southgate's England squad despite stiff competition. Manchester City. Central midfield. The Manchester City squad is loaded with depth across the park, except for a centre-back, and they are particularly well endowed in central midfield and on the right flank. Pep Guardiola's squad boasts some really versatile players like Bernardo Silva, who can play in central midfield or wide on the right, but I've included him among the plethora of Man City central midfielders for the purposes of this inclusion. In my humble opinion, Man City have the best midfielder on earth right now in the form of Kevin De Bruyne, and he is the one player Guardiola almost never rotates for key games, with the recent League Cup final being a very notable exception. Summer signing Rodrigo is something close to a mainstay as a deep-line playmaker, especially whilst Fernandinho debutizes as centre-back, and Fernandinho himself has been the best defence midfielder in the Premier League for the last few seasons. David Silva has been a remarkable servant to the citizens in the middle of the park and hasn't let up in his final season at the Etihad. His namesake Bernardo Silva was among the best players in the world last season, and Ilkay Gundogan is a class act. I haven't even mentioned Phil Foden in my consideration, who is no doubt a special player but tends to operate a little further forward. But with or without the youngster, Man City takes second in this 7. Barcelona. Central midfield. Barcelona's midfield options aren't quite as formidable as they were a decade ago, when Pep Guardiola could call upon the talents of Andres Iniesta, Sergio Busquets, Xavi, Seydou Keita, Yaya Touré, Jonathan Dos Santos, and Thiago Alcantara, but it's still strong enough to top this 7. Sergio Busquets is the only one of those 7 still at the Camp Nou, and the world-class pivot is closing in on 600 appearances in Catalonia. In front of him, Barca can boast the likes of Frankie de Jong, Artem Melo, Arturo Vidal, Ivan Rakitic, and Sergio Roberto, in addition to a couple of talented young central midfielders who have made the step up from La Masia to the first team on occasion this season. Frankie de Jong has been the closest to a mainstay in the middle of the park, featuring in 36 of Barca's 37 games since his big money move from Ajax. All 6 have made 20 plus appearances this season, and only Arta and Sergio Roberto have played in fewer than 30 games. There's no doubt that the Barcelona midfield is packed full of quality, but many of them are yet to show their best form this season. Off the back of yet another comfortable title win, Barca have let their standards drop this season, and they trail Real Madrid by 1 point at the top of the La Liga table following defeat in the Clásico. That's it for today's video. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Since you've got this far and in exchange for eternal good luck and happiness, why not subscribe and turn on notifications for the ever brilliant HITC Sevens. Also, for mobile users, if you click on your screen now, there should be some suggestions of other videos YouTube thinks you might like, and I agree with YouTube. If you're watching on desktop, they should appear of their own accord. Thank you all for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a brilliant day.